Да не за что. Сейчас вхожу в Binet. Alright, so we are going to start now. Пивер. Что это такое? Русский у меня второй язык. Второй. Это второе слово. Я это понял. Ну да ладно. Okay, guys. Let's get this one underway. Hello, Lampa. How are you doing? I'm playing the second game. Ah, уже все понял. I didn't realize that was their clan tag. At any rate, let's get right into this one. In the top left-hand corner of the map, it's our Red Terran Frame Show. His opponent, representing Pineapple Revenge and the Zerg race, is wearing the blue. His name is Muse. Give me a second, guys. I'm just going to have to take away that the overlay so you guys can see the supplies. Okay, we should be good to go there. So for those of you who might be unfamiliar with the format, it is a best of 5. It's not an all-kill format, so each clan selects which player is going to play which map ahead of time, and then once the war starts, you find out who your opponent is. The fifth game is an ace match, in which case a player can be revived. They can play twice. Prior to that, first 4 games, each player plays once. So, anyway, we've got Frame Show heading across the map here. SCV Scouts. This is what I like to do when I play the matchup. Get that information early enough so that you can decide whether or not a second Reaper will be necessary. I'm very well acquainted with Frame Show's style. He does like the 2-on-1. He will also play Hellion Banshee, Hellion Raven. We'll actually mix it up as far as builds go. Generally speaking, though, he's an aggressive player who does enjoy stretching the multitasking of his opponent. This is my first time seeing Muse play, so can't really rule out the predictions here. But at any rate, he has pulled off 2 drones from gas. So he's getting his speed, and then it looks like he wants to macro up a bit. Should probably see him start positioning a drone to take the third any moment now. Frame Show's Reaper does get away just in time. Queen is going to hatch in a couple of seconds. And Muse's Overlord has poked in, has not seen the second barracks, actually sees a reactor and a factory. Now, depending on how on top of his timings Muse is, he might realize that the timing of the factory could betray that this is a 2-on-1. However, if he is not on top of his timings, he might think that this is Hellion Banshee or something of that sort. There is quite a difference in preparing for those 2 builds. 2-on-1, you really want to make sure you get the necessary units to defend at that roughly 5:15 timing. Could be a little bit before, a little bit after, depending on the map. And if it's Hellion Banshee, of course, that requires a separate preparation. So we'll see what Muse does. Still no third base here. He's getting additional queens. He's actually just finished up a lair. Whoa, okay. All right. Everything is out the window now. Frame Show is going to scout all of this. He sees the infestation pit. He sees the lair. He's probably asking himself, what the heck am I playing against right now? I know I would be doing that. All 4 gases are taken, but the saturation is not yet complete. I have to imagine that the stim drop will have ample opportunity to do damage here. Not just clear creep, not just kill Zerglings, but this is about as tech-heavy a build as you can get from a Zerg. I really don't know what he's going to do. It's going to be a Nidus with, well, I don't know, it's like Swarm Host? What are we going to see here? He's still adding drones. I am really, really confused. Double Engineering Bay coming down now for Frame Show. It is, in fact, going to be Swarm Host, so it's going to be a Nidus with Swarm Host. I think a lot of this is going to come down to the timing, though. If Frame Show's units are on the other side of the map, we could see a wild base trade. If they're still at home when the Nidus hits, I think he would actually take it out very easily, but he is going to boost right now. So the base trade is about to commence. However, this is in perfect view of Frame Show's E-Bays. Will he turn around? Or will he just go for the base trade? He is going to turn around. SCVs, if they get us around, they might even be able to prevent them from unloading. I'm not sure. Looks like Queens are going to get out at the back. The medevacs are boosting back in. Marines are dropped. Stim is complete. There are 3 Swarm Hosts here. It looks like about 5 Queens or so. The Nidus is going to go down. Some Queens are going to go down. Swarm Hosts are going to go down. I have to imagine that this is a favorable trade for Frame Show. Roughly equal in terms of resources lost. However, knowing that Nidus is in play now, knowing, of course, that maybe a fast hive transition is a possibility since the infestation pit is already down, etc. I think that this probably will play in Frame Show's favor. We'll see what Muse does with it. It looks like he probably wants to spread creep from this location. In fact, there it is, the first creep tumor there. 1-1 is on the way. Combat shields are as well. Frame Show baits. The Locust picks up. Looks like he might want to take out this Nidus. I mean, this is very expensive for Muse. And I don't believe we have a third base. Yes, still no third base from Frame Show. He does take out the Nidus. I don't think he realizes that there is a creep tumor there. And another Midas, the Midas touch. This is the Nidus touch. Another Nidus hits the main. It's going to go down. Swarm Hosts get their Locusts off. Frame Show's going to try to run away from those Locusts and then re-engage. So he should take out these Swarm Hosts here. And we're getting this sort of back and forth perpetual Nidus style from Muse, who has built a supply lead for himself. He has also saturated, or begun saturating rather, his third base. Still no transition to Hive. He's just going to keep Frame Show contained with the Locust, and combined with the Speedlings, this might be enough really to do critical damage. We take a look at the supply count. This is insane. He's doubling Frame Show in workers. He's doubling him in army. And he's going to keep up the attack. He's coming back in on the left side now. He's going to do the same thing. Scans go down. I think Frame Show is about ready to tap out here. Not really sure how you could predict a build like this. That's just pretty unfortunate for Frame Show. And as I said before, his medevacs were halfway across the map when that Nidus hit. Didn't leave him in the best position to deal with this build. So Swarm Host Link off of 2 bases is apparently a viable build. Today I learned. Muse did, of course, get his third base behind it and is getting 4th base now. I think Frame Show is just coming to grips with the outcome of this game. Definitely a tough one to swallow, no doubt about that. Particularly considering the fact that he took out the first Nidus with very, very little damage. I think the only issue here, the only critique that I have, is that after taking out the first Nidus, he didn't have any cross-map presence. He didn't have any threat to the economy of Muse, and Muse was just able to macro up and continue this pressure. The Locusts actually get us around on about half of the Marines there. Lings are going to eat away at the supply depots as well as the Locusts. They're going to come in, take out the natural mineral line again. Frameshow's going to micro his heart out. But again, I draw your attention to the fact that there's a fourth base in play. And I think it's just a matter of technique here and closing the game out for Muse. He still has, what, 12 swarm hosts. Hive transition is underway. He's actually getting his 2-2 as well. I mean, technically there is a 2-2 versus 1-1 upgrade advantage for Frameshow, but when you're basically at a third of the army supply as your opponent, the upgrades aren't going to do too much work for you. A very, very unique game here from Muse. I'm interested to know if this is actually a common build that he uses. It hasn't really even spread any creep or anything. He's got one creep tumor at home. All of the creep is on the other side of the map. And just this relentless swinging pendulum of an attack. Nidus goes down, but Locusts come out. They're going to eat the Marines alive. And we have a gigantic swath of Zerglings now headed across to seemingly finish the job. There are 70 Zerglings, 13 Marines, 2 medevacs. Of course, more Niduses are going to exacerbate the problem. GG is called. Alright, so that is 1-0 in favor of Pineapple Revenge. I am game 2, I'm pretty sure. Let me double check that. Okay, yep, I'm game 2 on Acid Plant. So, no casting for this one. Just me probably commenting on my inevitable demise. Okay. Haven't even checked my... Okay, so he's a Master 1 Protoss. 5k Protoss. Alright, so we're going to wait a couple of minutes here. I guess I could use this opportunity to try to do some opposition research on my opponent. Feeling a little bit lazy to do that right now, in all honesty. Should have done that before the game. Fact of the matter is, I'm going to have to try to execute my build. Try to execute it to the best of my ability. I know I'm at an MMR deficit here of roughly 200, so going to have to give it my best and hope to show good games for my fans. Basically, that's what we've got here.
Not enough minerals.
What's going on? SCV ready.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Big job.
So of course, guys, I am going to be a bit quieter for this one, as I'm going to try to focus on it as much as possible.
What's
I'm going to need
Not
every
enough
ounce of
minerals.
concentration that I can get.
What's going on? Bad news.
Additional supply depots. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Go ahead.
Not enough minerals.
SCV ready. What's going on? In the rear with the gear. Big job. SCV ready. Go ahead. Go ahead. SCV ready. Ah! You scared me. What's going? SCV ready. Bad news. In the rear with the gear. Huh? Yo, what's going on? Bad news? Huh?
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Go, go, go! By the nose.
Command center upgrade complete.
Go ahead. This better be good. SCV ready. SCV ready. The Grim Reaper has arrived. Who wants some? SCV ready. Big job, huh? SCV ready. What's it worth? Fear the Reaper Man. Go ahead. Huh? Yeah. You want a piece of me, boy? What's it worth? SCV ready. Yes, indeed.
Not enough minerals.
Systems go. We could use some help. SCV ready.
Moving into position. Comms open. Got it targeted. Channels clear, boss.
SCV ready.
Show me who you want to die.
SCV ready.
Your forces are under attack.
SCV ready. SCV ready.
Command center. Your forces are under attack. Base.
Oh
is
my
under
goodness,
attack.
come on now, seriously?
What's going on? SCV ready. Ah! SCV ready. Ben? Go ahead. SCV ready. Big job. SCV ready.
Add-on complete.
Course set.
SCV ready. Who wants some? SCV ready.
Base is under attack.
SCV ready. Bad news. SCV ready.
Base is under attack.
Wait, what?
Our SCVs are under attack.
SCV ready. In the rear. Big job. SCV ready.
Ready for dust off.
Go ahead. SCV ready. SCV ready.
Base is under attack.
Let's go. SCV ready. Big wait. Go, go, go. SCV ready.
Yeah, I don't have a choice. I think I pretty much just straight up lost this one.
Unacceptable.
SCV ready.
GG. I was warned. I was warned that it was going to be an all-in. Okay. All right, let's see who the final game is. Well, might not be the final game if we win. And I've got to check the map. I mean, that was very, very sloppily played on my part, guys. The Cyclone did okay damage. The Widow Mines didn't do too much, but I needed to prepare better for the 2-base all-in at home. I was told before the match by a clanmate that it was that Scandalous plays an all-in style. Should have prepared for more, or I'm sorry, with more bunkers, and probably should have just kept that Liberator at home from the start. All right, what's the third map? Okay, all right, Cerulean Fall, got it. Not a good game on my part at all. Not in any way. So they're up 2-0 right now. All of our hopes are with Buff. Our thoughts and prayers. All right. In the bottom left-hand corner of the map, hoping to keep our team Wolf's Lair alive, he is the Teal Protoss, Buff. His opponent in the top right and in the pink, also playing Protoss, he is Pineapple Revenge's Remove Protoss. Bit of a masochist there. So Remove Protoss is actually going to get the first scout off here. Confirms that it is cross spawn. Both players are going double gateway. Seems to be the safest PvP build. As far as I can tell, we see it quite frequently. Cybernetics core for both players. So thus far, we've got almost identical openers. We've got full gas saturation for Buff on one of his gases and 2 out of 3 on the other. And for Remove Protoss, we have 2 out of 3 on both. Aside from that, everything is equal. We'll see what Buff wants to do with the additional gas. It looks like Remove Protoss is probably going to set up a forward pylon here. So we could have 3 games and 3 cheeses by the looks of it. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. What will it be? That is the next question. Unfortunately for Buff, he has no idea where his opponent is just yet. Looks like he's actually going to try to take an expansion too. And is this just going to be another gateway? Or is there going to be tech proxied here? I imagine that even if there is tech proxied here, we'll probably see a gateway anyway, just for a faster warp in. Buff still doesn't know where his opponent is. Looks okay, so he's going to send 1 stalker to each corner. Not sure what the probe is going to do. But either way, it's going to be a 4-gate. Just a good old-fashioned 4-gate. No expansion yet for Buff, but for that matter, he actually doesn't have anything, and his stalkers are out of position. He's going to see that the stalkers are coming across to his base right now. He has to flee immediately. That is not an ideal scenario, and he's actually going to pull back the probe before it scouts. He looks like he may realize, he may have inferred that this is a cross-spawn game. The bad news for him, though, is that, for one thing, he may end up losing the Stalker. It's taken a ton of health damage. For another, he's going to lose his Pylon, which he'll have to cancel. No, he's going to let it finish. He has 4 Stalkers against 2 here. With good micro, maybe he can kill one of them. And still no additional tech for either player completed just yet, but there is a Robo on the way for Buff. If he can hang on in this 2 gateway versus 4 warp gate scenario, his own warp gate is about to finish up. If he can hang on at that 2 versus 4, he can start to chrono boost out Immortals, and then maybe he can hold. This is going to be a difficult hold, though. I think he has to buy time, go back up to the high ground, and fight under shield battery protection the whole time. His probe does confirm that it is still 1 base, and there's no additional tech. Good force field from Buff that may allow him to pick off a Stalker or 2. He does lose the Sentry. Down goes the first Stalker and the second one. So a really nice hold so far, but it is not yet over. He is going to chrono boost out that first Immortal. If we take a look at the units tab, it's 10 Stalkers against 5, and each player has a Sentry. However, the Immortal, once it comes out, is going to do so much work to these Stalkers. I'm curious to see where Remove Protoss goes from here. If he wishes to expand behind it. In fact, that looks like exactly what he's doing. So he's going to contain and expand. Worst case scenario for Remove Protoss, he can just recall all of these units back home. So contain, contain, contain when things get a bit too dangerous. Like if he runs out of Sentry energy and he sees the Immortals, he can just recall back. And he knows almost for certain that his expansion is going to be ahead that of Buff's, assuming that there were no probes out on the map earlier to take some crazy ninja expansion. So definitely a good position here for Remove Protoss, just by virtue of getting his expansion first. With that being said, this Warp Prism could get a fair bit of damage done. Shades come up to the top of the ramp. They ascertain the location of Buff's army. The contain continues. Nexus is over halfway done. It looks like Buff wants to warp in on the other side of the map. He's actually going to take out a pylon, maybe a second one. We'll see if the Stalkers can respond in time. And the Adepts are starting to work away at some of the probes. Not too many kills just yet. But that is utterly disastrous for Buff. He gets both of the pylons, but he loses the Warp Prism, the Immortal, and I believe it was 2 Stalkers. 2 Adepts get into the main. They're going to try to kill some probes. The recall, though, does come down, and Remove Protoss is able to defend. It looks like Buff just wants to go all in from here. Losing that Warp Prism hurt very, very badly, as he is not going to have any reinforcing potential on the other side of the map. It looks like he's not going to go all in with it. He is posturing for an expansion. He's very minorly ahead in army supply as well as worker supply, but that's going to change momentarily. One aspect that may be in his favor is the fact that he has taken out 2 warp gates, so he will have superior production, but again, without a pylon or a warp prism on the other side of the map, he's not going to be able to maximize that advantage. 3rd gateway is in production now. For Remove Protoss gets off a nice force field, kills 1 Stalker. He also has a beautifully positioned Observer, which scouts the entire army of Buff. I'm not sure how Buff can do this, especially with all of these sentries here. A couple of force fields do go down. 1 sentry falls. I believe it was Buff's sentry. At any rate, it is 2 Immortals versus 2 Immortals, so there isn't really a firepower advantage for Buff. He still has not expanded. I think he may have second-guessed that. Guardian Shield is cast for Remove Protoss, but excellent force fields for Buff. He's able to take out about half of this army here. That may be just what he needed to pull himself back in this game. I did not like his position prior to that. He's also getting a Robo Bay, and his expansion has finally begun. If he can get maybe 1 more pick-off based on force fields again, he may pull himself back to even in this game. There's a force field there, gets a sentry. With 2 Immortals versus 1, maybe he could push, but a second one does pop now. This is a very precarious position here for Buff, who's doing everything he can to keep Wolf's Lair alive in this clan war. 1 Immortal is going to be focused down. Buff does an excellent job of pulling back the 2nd Immortal, which is heavily damaged. He's going to focus down the 2nd Immortal of Remove Protoss and come in here. If he takes out the pylon, he'll prevent another Immortal from popping. Excellent position in this choke point. I think Buff has done it. What an incredible comeback there. He was in a really ugly position. Remove Protoss calls GG, and we are now at 2-1 in Pineapple Revenge's favor. Buff has kept us alive, ladies and gentlemen. Very well played. Yeah, sorry, Dust just brought it to my attention that that the map is in fact cross-spawn, Cerulean Fall. Like I said, it was an insta-veto for me. Oh my goodness. All right, let's get into this next game. Sorry about that, guys. I'm done reading chat during the cast. That's my fault. Totally my fault. All right, we've got Cube versus, I think it was Magnum on Blue Shift. Alright, I swear I'm not going to read chat at all this game. Not at all. Or if I do read it, I'm not going to respond. The first thing I did was look over at chat after that. Anyway, let's get into this one. So, in the top right-hand corner of the map, looking to close out the series in Pineapple Revenge's favor. It's their second chance at match point here. It's the Purple Terran Magnum. His opponent in the bottom left, it's the Blue Zerg Cube. This will be our second ZVT of the day. The bar has been set high with that 2-base Swarm Host Nidus that we saw in Game 1. Hard for me to believe that this game can possibly live up to it. Oh, this is interesting here. Not every day that you see this. A non-wall-off in TVZ. I'm actually quite intrigued by that. I mean, it's usually not the biggest deal. The only way that it can be a problem is if there's some type of early aggression. Don't think that is going to be the case here, as we have a hatch first, hatch gas pool, totally standard thus far from Cube. And it's looking like a Reaper expansion from Magnum. Follow-up is going to be a factory, so no 211, no second gas just yet. Looking like possibly Hellion Banshee or Hellion Raven. And third base is being taken pretty quickly here for Cube. Good control from both players so far. Really good control here from Cube. The Queen is out. That should protect the Lings any farther in, and Magnum is going to risk losing that Reaper. Cube confirms that there is in fact an expansion on the low ground. Not sure what's going. Oh, okay. I think that Magnum wants to send this Rax out, maybe to float it and kill the Overlord, but then again, he doesn't have any Marines, so not really sure what's going to happen there. Okay, there's the Marine there, so it looks like that's exactly what's going to transpire. We've got our Hellions. We'll see if in fact it will be Banshee. Of course, it could be Raven. No units have been killed so far. Everything is, for the most part, pretty standard. Barracks location here is kind of cute. Don't know if we'll see a second Marine before this is lifted, or if Magnum is just going to go with one Marine. Either way, Lings are going to break in here. They're going to be killed by Hellions. That's a nice scout in and of itself. And actually, the Marine was killed. So, if Magnum wants to kill that Overlord, if indeed that is the idea behind that barracks positioning, it's going to be slightly delayed. Here is the third command center. Full wall off is complete. Still no indication as to whether or not this is going to be bio or mech from Magnum. Speed is completed for Cube, and a Liberator is about to make its way out of the starport and across the map. Reaper is finally killed there. Cube should feel comfortable to transition any moment now. Overlord is pushed away by that Marine. It's actually not a full wall off here. I did not realize that. At any rate, we have 6 Hellions making their way across the map. They're going to run into a handful of Lings and 3 Queens. Good pick off on the first Hellion from Cube. Another Queen does join. The Hellions are spotted by an Overlord, So Cube should not be caught out of position here. Burrows being researched, and a Baneling nest is finishing up. However, the Liberator has made his way into the main, is picking up some drone kills. Right now, there's no Queen here because the Queens are occupied with the defense against the Hellions. This is actually doing an incredible amount of damage. 11 kills and counting. 10 of those were drones, so this is a very, very successful opener from Magnum. All of the Queens are going back to try to take out this Liberator, which is going to just pick up and leave. 13 kills in total. Again, 10 of those were drones. The other 3, I believe, were Larva. Hellions are going to make their way into the natural, going to pick off even more drones now. This is a very, very strong start to what could be the final match of this series for Pineapple Revenge. Follow-up is actually going to be triple starport. Like, what a bizarre series of games we've had today, including my game as well. Liberator is finally killed, but the damage has been done. 42 SCVs to 37 drones at the moment. First Banshee makes its way across. It's going to be met by the Queen. However, Cloak is about to finish up. Spore Crawlers, or at least one Spore Crawler anyway, is being made now. However, this is 3-port Banshee, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very, very powerful build if it is not scouted. Lair is just about to finish up. Again, only one Spore Crawler so far. If the Banshees run into these Queens with the Spore, Cube should be fine. But there really isn't anything to defend against these Hellions either. And this goes back to all of the drones that were killed earlier. Cube wanted to remake drones, but has no army on the ground to deal with this. Lings are into the natural now. I think they got past that wall that wasn't a real wall. Anyway, going to kill a decent amount of SCVs. However, the Hellions on the other side of the map are killing some more drones as well. Lings are burrowed in the natural. They're going to jump back out and attack at the first opportunity. This is a bit of a slugfest. 21 workers killed for Magnum, 17 for Cube, but now 4 Banshees have made their way across the map. They're easily going to kill the first Queen. I think if they want, they can focus on this Spore Crawler as well. The Queens have to get over there and transfuse that immediately. Hydralisk Ben has just started now. But again, there's just no detection here. There's no detection whatsoever. But there's only one Overseer, which is all the way on the other side of Cube's base. All of these Queens are going to die. That might just be enough. It looks like Cube is positioning for one more counterattack to try to get back into the game. I'm not even sure where the Overseer is anymore, to be honest. It's actually just hanging out in the natural. It looks like Cube has decided to forfeit this base. That's probably the best move. Thank you very much for the follow. Lings are going to run back. Keep in mind, there are still here waiting to jump back into the natural. As long as the Hellions are at home, they're not really going to be able to do anything. 3 Spore Crawlers are finishing up now, but there are no Spore Crawlers in the mid. Now, in the main base, thank you very much for the follow. Those Spore Crawlers in the main base, and there's no Queens still. All of the Queens were killed, or at least, a round has completed, but it's like 6 Queens that were killed at the 3rd base. Hydras have finally arrived now. They're going to save the day, at least for the moment. Cube somehow has a supply lead. It's mostly coming, or I should say entirely coming, from workers. The army supply lead is in Magnum's favor. Now, of course, this is going to be a continued mech follow-up. It's not just pure starport. Got a lot of Hellbats here. This is going to be a very powerful push. Hydras, if they can maintain the range, will easily deal with the Hellbats. If the Hellbats get on top of them, though, they will melt. 3rd base was retaken at the bottom location for Cube. It looks like Magnum is going to sit here, accumulate more of an army, and I have to imagine we're going to see another committed push pretty soon. When the dust is settled, it's been 25 workers, 25 drones killed, to 20 SCVs killed. Worker lead is slightly in Cube's favor. Cube has to be very careful not to overcommit with these units. These Hydras here, are going to be key to defending any attack that comes with the Banshees. Cube trying a cute little move here, unburrowing those Zerglings to morph them into Banelings. However, Magnum is wise to the plan. One supply depot with a call down supply has been taken out, but again, these Hydralisks, if they're too far forward, they will get melted by the Hellbats. They've got to pull back. With that being said, it looks like Cube is so close to taking this engagement. It's a very, very scrappy engagement. One Banshee is going to stand tall here, especially with the repair. Cube has done a fair bit of damage there. A fair bit indeed. It's not exactly normal for Zerg to be ahead in resources lost at this phase of the game. However, I did not catch it in the production tab, but I sure as heck see it now. We have BCs, ladies and gentlemen. This is a wild game. Every single game today has been very, very different, to say the least. Heck, I mean, my game was probably the most normal, and that was my proxy factory build against a 2-base all-in from Protoss. That was definitely the most normal game that we've seen so far. I guess maybe you can make a case that the PvP was a normal all-in sort of game as well. But anyway, wild games. I think everybody's taking their cue from the GSL series. What was that, a couple of days ago. Anyway, we'll get back to that later. But right now, we've got BCs versus Hydras. One BC does teleport out. The Hydras are actually doing pretty well. The second one teleports out. Also, both of them are very, very low in health. We'll see if there's any change in the preparation here from Cube. Baneling speed is about to finish up. That's going to help with any push potential. SCVs are going to be killed now in large quantities at the third base. A couple of Hydras are being taken out easily by the BCs, who are also being prepared. However, this command center, oh, please, 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 please focus it down. For our sake, for the sake of the clan, please focus down that orbital command center. One SCV, one hero SCV has saved this orbital command. I really hope, for our clan's sake in this clan war, I hope that does not come back to bite Cube. That was literally about 2 to 3 Hydra shots away from being killed. The single SCV comes in with the repair at the last second. Thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it, everybody. Just an utterly wild game here. We do have Hydraling Bane with particular emphasis on the Hydras, who are about to enjoy a +2 attack upgrade. BCs versus Lings is always funny. You've got what is, I guess, theoretically on paper, one of the most powerful units in the game. You know, in terms of its actual application, probably not, but on paper, one of the most powerful units in the game against the most expendable unit in the game, and the Lings just like run past, like, nah, bro, you can't catch me. Anyway, the Hydras are going to dive underneath the BCs. I'm not sure if these BCs do have teleport. One does go back. The Banelings are crashing into, I believe they're hitting Hellions there on the ground, and the Hydras are continuing to just chip away and take out, I believe there's 2 or 3 BCs down so far. Perhaps with a couple more to follow. It's a very, very committed attack here from Cube, but I think it may be enough. At the very least, it's going to be a good trade for Cube. In fact, it is enough to get the GG. Very well played game. I cannot believe Cube did that one. Wow, what a comeback. So on the strength of Buff and Cube's back, we are now at 2-2, ladies and gentlemen, for the ace match. Is this the second week in a row? I can't even recall. No, we won. Academy team won 3-1 on Wednesday. I believe it was the pro squad. Yeah, our pro team won in the ace match when Nakamura and I casted. All right, so we've got to figure out who is going to play in the ace match here. Clearly, it's going to be Buff or Cube. Hope you guys are enjoying these games thus far. Thank you again to everyone who followed. I really appreciate that, guys. I've been a good boy. I've been a good caster. I was still in player mode since I was doing my personal stream. my ladder stream earlier, but I've been a good caster and I haven't been responding to chat in the wrong scenarios. Not for that last game anyway. All right. Anyway, let's figure out who the ace match is going to be. Gonna message our manager right now. I totally forget what the process is in place to choose the ace match player. I don't know if it's the managers who do it. I should know that. I don't. I'm still new to the clan, still new to this league, guys. Cut me a break. Anyway, gonna hope to get a response from that soon. In the meantime, feel free to tell me in the chat what you guys think about the games so far. And again, thank you guys very much for the follows. I believe we got maybe 3 or 4, if I'm not mistaken. Really appreciate that. Of course, for the pro clan wars, Nakamura, he's currently on vacation right now. I think he comes back maybe a week from now. Is it a week or 2 weeks? Anyway, Nakamura and I cast the pro clan wars at www.twitch.tv/Wolf's Lair SC2. So yeah, for the pro clan wars, you guys can catch us there. So we've got our ace. Let me double check the map again. Okay, the ace map is going to be Lost and Found. Oh, they should add to the site. Okay, all right, we got it. Okay, so we've got the ace match revealed. And we need to go to Lost and Found. Here we go. Have these pineapple dudes played a singles? No, there hasn't been a standard game yet. It's kind. I mean, honestly, it's kind of awesome. It's not the. I guess if I want to win, it's not the best style for me to play against. As you guys know, those of you who watch my stream, one of my biggest weaknesses is playing against super aggressive or weird builds. But it is really fun to watch and cast, I'll say that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is what it all comes down to. When it's all said and done, when all of the dust settles, when the battlefield clears, one of these Protoss players and one of these clans will stand victorious. I'm trying to build this up as much as I can. All right, anyway, in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, he is the man who has who slayed me earlier in game number 2. He's our orange Protoss playing for Pineapple Revenge. It is Scandalous. His opponent in the top right, playing in his second PvP of the day, he is the teal Protoss. It is Buff. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to see yet another cheese. Which cheese will it be? Is it going to be a Cannon Rush? Yes, it is going to be a Cannon Rush. So it's a gateway against the Cannon Rush. Scandalous comes up into the main right now. The second probe is the giveaway for the Cannon Rush. I mean, the timing of this probe, I think in many cases gives away that it's going to be a cheese. Pylon is now being warped in on the high grounds for Scandalous. Buff has pulled a bunch of probes. He actually has a second probe preemptively positioned on the low ground. I'm not sure what he wanted to do with that, but the first pylon is canceled. And a nice denial there on the gas steal. Beautiful positioning by Buff. Not allowing, okay, at least for the moment, he didn't allow the gas steal. Scandalous does end up getting in there and taking it. However, this has been an excellent defense. Thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it. We've got a gateway now. Looks like the cannon rush has been abandoned. Going to be a standard follow-up from here. Double gateway. And a cybernetics core is about halfway done for Buff. So he's going to send out a zealot to deal with the gas steal. We'll see where he wants to go from here, though. Scandalous is going back up into the main. For a moment, I was thinking it'd be funny if we saw a second gas steal, but obviously that would not be a good move since there's already a zealot out. I think it would just be the principle of the matter. Your gas is my gas, you know, that sort of thing. Anyway, double gateway, cybernetics core. Of course, this forge has not yet put in any work in this game. Is Scandalous positioning for a second gas steal? Is that what's going on? Or is this just for a scout? Okay, either way, Scandalous does leave, and we have an expansion which I don't think was was confirmed. Looks like the probe just saw that. So anyway, Buff is expanding. He's up against double gateway. And I'm not sure what Scandalous's follow-up is going to be from here. So again, to point it out, that Forge hasn't really done much in this game. It was intended for a cannon rush. The cannon rush was dealt with beautifully by Buff. It looks like Buff is going to scout all around the map for any type of proxy. Probably a pretty good idea. But the Stalker is going to come up into the main, which is, for the moment, undefended. Buff wisely pulls back, realizing that given that this is a one-base play, there's a good chance he's going to run into some defensive units. Looks like this is going to be a 4-gate follow-up to the failed cannon rush. Buff has not seen that forward gateway. It's going to be used for the fast warp in, of course. Not sure if he's going to send this probe in to verify that it is still a one-base play, or if he wants to get some type of counter proxy. I have to imagine that's going to be for a follow-up scout. Anyway, gets good health damage on one of the Stalkers. Needs to be careful not to overextend here. Just as I say that, he pulls back. He's getting 2 shield batteries. It looks like Buff is in a really, really good position to defend this here, especially with the help of an Immortal. This is just a pure gateway play against Gateway Robo. They're on an even. With the forward gateway. It's going to be a 1-gate advantage for Scandalous, but that is not going to be enough to compensate for the double shield battery and the Immortal lead. The Robo facility is about halfway done for Scandalous, so Scandalous will be adding in some Immortals as well. But I think he should be a bit too far behind. However, there are a lot of Stalkers here for Scandalous. Many more Stalkers for Scandalous than for Buff. I think Buff needs to get back and fight under the protection of the shield batteries. It's exactly what he does now. Adepts shade in to the back, and Scandalous is going to use that opportunity to close the distance and try to dive on top of the Stalkers. The Adepts are taken out. A second Immortal is at the top of the ramp. The shield battery is actually canceled to let that Immortal come through. The Stalkers are going to fall as many of them are on red health. Scandalous is going to pull back now. If we take a look at the worker count, it is 29-23 in Buff's favor. Of course, he is still on 2 bases versus the 1 base of Scandalous. Scandalous's window is closing, and quickly at that, he's actually just getting, I believe this is his first Immortal. Full game, it's his first Immortal. He's getting out now. He's adding a couple of sentries, so Buff, again, has to be careful about that. He's got his Observer here, which presumably is going to be tapped on the attack paths. No need to send them across to that 1 base, right? He's got a probe there at the natural. Thank you very much for the follow-up. He's got a probe there at the natural, keeping eye on the economic situation of Scandalous, who is also facing a supply block at the moment. I actually didn't see where that pylon was taken out. Force fields go down. It looks like one of the Immortals could fall. This is a very nice pickoff for Scandalous. However, the two Immortals may be enough to defend for Buff. This is very, very close. I think he may be able to pull it off. The Immortals are so strong in this situation, especially with the workmen of Stalkers to complement this army. Adepts are killed before they can shade back. It looks like they're actually going to try to run away instead. I think Scandalous thought about trying to dive onto the natural mineral line again, but as long, or I should say the longer that this game goes, the better it becomes for Buff. That economic advantage is really kicking in now. He has the army lead. Obviously, he's got the worker lead as well. And both players are on, I don't want to say the same composition because it's pretty much Stalkers versus Adepts, but it's like the same infrastructure. You've got Gateway Robo, where one player has a full base advantage. So obviously, the longer the game goes, the better it's going to be for the player who has the superior economy. Adepts do shade into the back. I believe one of them was killed and one escaped. Either way, Buff actually has a Warden Prism as well. Looks like he wants to kill this Immortal. After that, he can choose to take out this infrastructure, and at that point, it's going to be GG. Buff has done it. Wolf's Lair has pulled off the reverse sweep. Started out 0-2, and we take it 3-2. Again, on the backs of Cube and Buff. Very well played, guys, and very well played to Pineapple Revenge also. That was a wild, wild series. I almost went into the chat. I almost went into the chat and said something. I still need to get used to the whole casting on a delay thing. I'm still a player first and foremost, though I do love casting, but gotta like switch that mindset. So, thanks again to all of the new followers. I really appreciate it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the cast. Hopefully you enjoyed the games. I'm going to continue the stream in a moment here with a bit of peep mode play. Maybe I'll play a ladder game or two. I'm debating whether or not I should restart the stream without the delay. I know when you do that, you always lose viewers, but hey. If I can't interact with the chat, it's not really that fun to stream anyway. So that's the main goal of streaming for me. Goodness knows people aren't here to see my high level gameplay, right? And I'm just waiting for. I'm kind of watching the game hunt stream right now, waiting for that to finish. Then I'm gonna restart my stream. Kind of critiquing my observing skills right now. But at any rate, going to play a few games now. So if you guys want to stick around, it's much appreciated. Time for me to restart the stream. So hope to catch you guys in a few minutes. GG's. GG's to Pineapple Revenge as well, and good luck the rest of the season. All right, see you guys in a couple of minutes.